What's up, brewskis? Long time no see.
Yet again.
Yeah.
We got to do these more often.
Yeah. Well, this time was your fault.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. It was. Well, really, I was victimized
Yeah.
by the flu.
Yeah.
So
ravaged.
we weren't going to play a flu game.
Nah.
So, yeah, that's
But we're
why.
back now, and we decided to finally crack into these bad boys. If you're only listening, when I went up to DC, I came back with some stuff that you can't get here. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Sure.
But first and foremost, let's get ripping and rolling into this the way that we're supposed to. Okay. So first of all, my name is Marco Dupa, and that guy right there is the great and powerful Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
What's up, brewskis?
So tonight's brew, as I was saying, we'll talk about this after the break.
Okay.
It needs its own segment. What's on tap for tonight? We got a couple of bangers to get into.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, the fucking Apple, their keynote thing that they do, where they reveal all of their new tech. That, this stuff that's like 2 or 3 years behind everybody else and $2,000 or $3,000 more than everybody else.
But it looks real sleek.
And in keeping in vein with that, they introduced their not VR headset, but AR headset.
Mm-hmm. AR/VR in a way.
I mean, I hope at the price point that it's at, it better fucking, you better be able to. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm so flustered by this.
Yeah, me too.
You better be able to have X-ray vision is the joke that I was going to go for. And anyway,
Okay,
we're going to talk about the headset. We're going to talk about Apple because we haven't talked about. I mean, they haven't really made a splash in a while. Apple, as a company.
Yeah. There hasn't been a new toy really to play with in a while. That was really interesting enough for us to cover on the show.
Yeah. What else?
We also have some drama from the Friends of Fast X.
Drama.
We haven't seen the movie yet, so unfortunately we'll not be able to review Fast X quite yet.
Sorry, guys.
Is on the agenda, but we can review some juicy deets from behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Some good stuff.
Always fun when working with Vin Diesel.
Vin being Vin.
And Michelle Rodriguez being Michelle Rodriguez, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, we're getting into it.
Oh yeah. And then last but not least, it's fitting, the last movie from Miyazaki is reportedly going to have no trailer, no promotional material at all. They're just going to drop the movie.
Yeah.
And in 2023, is that a good idea?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about that. So let's crack these big ass fucking bitches open and get into this. This is episode 393 of the One Beer In podcast.
Oh yeah.
Lost to be found.
Let me do a click on this one.
There's more of a fun.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out. So bored when it's bright out. 4 to 5 takes me to a place.
This is the One Beer In podcast, the podcast where two brews crack open a brew and see where that one brew takes us. This brew, okay, so I wanted to give it a little bit of space because it's not from a craft brewery. Mm-hmm. It's not some special double IPA. It's not a Berliner Weiss.
Sure.
It's Colt 45.
That's right.
If you're just listening, I hope that was a good reveal. Classic American lager since 1963. Obi, do you have more information about this classic lager?
I do. From beeradvocate.com.
All right.
It goes as follows. Introduced in 1963 by the Baltimore, Maryland-based National Brewing Company, Colt 45 was named in honor of running back Jerry Hill, who was number 45 on the 1963 Baltimore Colts football team. Through high-profile partnerships with actor Billy D. Williams and comedian Red Fox, who both appeared in radio, print, and TV advertisements, Colt 45 established itself as the premier malt liquor beverage by the early 1970s. It was also during this time that the iconic slogan, "Works every time," became synonymous with the brand. The Williams relationship lasted for nearly 4 decades until he passed the torch to music mogul Snoop Dogg in 2010. With Snoop at the helm, we've entered an exciting new Colt 45 era.
Is he still at the helm?
That's a very good question. I don't know. But he was in 2010, so that I can only assume we continue this exciting era.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, if you live in Florida, then you'll know that legally we can't have 40 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to a place where we can, and I brought 2 back.
The nation's capital. It's strange. I've seen differing ABVs on this thing because on the bottle itself it says 5.6% ABV. However, I've seen other places that it's 6.1. So I think it may have changed over time.
It used to be 6.1. Now it's 5.6.
I believe so. Yeah. So, because I'm seeing now pretty clear across the board 5.6.
Yeah.
Also, it says malt liquor, but also American lager.
Yeah. So technically, this can't really be a malt liquor because usually a malt liquor denotes a really high gravity lager. So something in the neighborhood of like 7% ABV and up. But then again, the definition of a malt liquor is very fluid.
Right.
Pun intended. So, I don't know.
Interesting.
It's
okay.
more of a marketing thing with Colt 45 and with something like Steel Reserve, which is like almost 9%. I think it's fitting. I think when I think of a malt liquor, that is what I think of, is like a high ABV lager.
Sure.
Something that doesn't need to be, something that is not normally that high.
I think of a headache is what I think about.
Yeah, well, that's why, usually.
Sure. Yeah.
The sugar that's in it
Sugar
that gets
water.
it that high.
Yeah.
It
melts your brain.
I don't imagine myself finishing this by the time we finish this episode. I'm not going to lie to you.
No way.
I'm not getting through 40 ounces.
Well, we'll see. We'll see, actually.
There's definitely a bathroom break coming.
Yeah, if we were to attempt that.
Yeah.
We'll see how long we talk. It'll be fun for the viewer.
Well, let's get it going then.
I'm pretty thirsty.
All right. First things first, let's pull up some of that sweet Apple news.
Sweet Apple news. According to The Economist, headline, Apple's Vision Pro is an incredible machine. Now to find out what it's for. Which I've seen this general idea across the board, and I have to agree. From everything that I've read about it, it seems really cool and really like high end. And again, as you hinted towards, for the price, it better be.
Yeah.
But what is really going to be the thing that gets people to not only buy this, but really adopt it across the board? I should say it's $3,500.
$3,500.
Right, which makes it by far the most expensive headset you can get.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Apple as a company looks around at the economy, looks at all the people who buy their stuff, and they're just like, you know what? I don't know if they're getting fucked enough.
Recession? What?
I mean, I see them bent over, but I just don't know if they're getting fucked enough.
We can pull more money out of that.
I really believe that the Vision Pro and everything around it. First of all, when it finally was revealed, it got dunked on immediately.
Mm-hmm. Well, because it looks silly, you know. Like,
it does look silly.
If the device itself, I should backtrack. the device itself doesn't look silly. The device itself actually looks really high end,
Yeah.
really sleek. It looks like an Apple product.
Yeah, the whole thing around it, the presentation and
Sure.
the advertisements for it.
Yeah, but when you look at someone wearing it and you think of if you think of someone like, I don't know, in real life at any point in public wearing that thing,
Yeah.
I mean, you look ridiculous.
Well, it was the same thing, not the same thing, but similar idea when Google had their glasses.
Oh yeah,
For some reason, these tech companies, I don't know, man. Sometimes it feels like they don't know their target audience at all.
yeah,
Because who is gonna walk around with those goggles on?
right.
Like, at least remember the Snapchat glasses?
yeah,
Them shits just look like regular glasses.
And
They were a little bulky, but
Yeah.
they could pass as just a regular pair of sunglasses. How are we in 2023 and they're still making tech that is like not feasible to wear, like wearable? And I'm surprised by Apple because of how sleek the watch is.
yeah. And that's always been a selling point of Apple, is like, it is tech that looks high end and it's fashionable. It's always fashionable.
Yeah.
I mean, now, mind you, maybe the vision here is not to have something that you wear in public. The vision, something that you wear like in public generally.
Yeah.
And it's more of just a home device that like you put on to catch up on the news that day, or look at your stocks and check in with friends somewhere else.
See, I don't have the same confidence that Silicon Valley has when it comes to AR and VR and how much people are going to immerse themselves into this stuff. And I think that this headset and the reaction to the headset pretty much exemplifies like where we are right now currently when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because obviously, like the Meta headset, which was the Oculus Rift,
Right.
and the PlayStation VR,
Yeah.
stuff like that, it makes sense for what it is, but it's still like a very, still kind of a niche thing right now. It's not like people save up to get a console. They're not going to save up again to get an attachment to the console unless
Right.
they're like really into it,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So this, I think, it shows where we are, where the zeitgeist is right now when it comes to this kind of technology. Maybe a couple years from now, I don't want to say like 5 or 10 years from now, because I didn't think we were this close to AR fucking shit up. Or not, I'm sorry, AI. I didn't think we were this close to AI fucking shit up. Which, by the way, we need to stop calling it artificial intelligence until it's actually artificial
Sure.
intelligence.
Until it's sentient.
Yeah, we've gotten way too comfortable calling shit like ChatGPT AI, when all it does is you feed it a prompt and it spits out information that it stole from everywhere. We're not gonna do that, but you guys get what I'm saying.
We've done it. We've done this before.
The headsets, they're still, I just believe, and this is obviously part of this is my own bias with, I think like tech like that it's just not for me. But I also feel like I'm not alone in this. I feel like there's a lot of people that feel the same way as I do.
Yeah.
If you could get, say, the Vision Pro at your local telecommunications company for the same amount you could get your phone for, or if you could put it on a plan, right? If they gave them to you as part of your plan, T-Mobile's doing a special giveaway with the headset for free,
Right.
or like $200 down or whatever. I could see people experimenting with it. But right now, what do you need that headset for? What need is it filling? The wearable tech filled a need, right?
Sure.
The watches, they've become almost like,
Ubiquitous.
yeah.
And
And it made sense.
I was joking with my coworker the other day, like, I even almost as much as forgetting my headphones, I hate forgetting my Apple Watch when I go work out. Because it's like, I can't I can't count the steps anymore.
Right.
You know, it doesn't. Does it even matter if I did it? Does it count?
Because you didn't. You didn't do it if you didn't count the steps.
Exactly. And I wouldn't have thought of that before I had one, but now that I do, it's like, yeah, second nature.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning, I put the watch on, and I'm going, you know?
Yep. And that makes sense. Anything else outside of that, like watching Zuckerberg, for instance, just continue to just shovel money into a fire pit.
The coal fire that is, what's it called?
The metaverse.
The metaverse.
And you just watch it and you're just like, it still doesn't even look as good as a Wii U.
It's so bad. I don't know how it's that bad.
It's crazy.
With how
Crazy
much
that
money
it's still
they've
that
been
bad.
spending. I don't know. You almost have to try to make it that bad, right? Like,
Dude, I mean, the first Oculus Rift, you had the Rift, right? Or
No.
did you know you had the
PlayStation VR.
right?
Yeah.
But we did get to experiment with
We
the
played with it, yeah.
And even in its first iteration, even though like you couldn't wear it that long, it kind of made you sick, and you know it was a little blurry, and the fit was kind of weird,
Yeah, it's
but
kind
like
of cumbersome.
at its best moments, it looked just as good as what the metaverse looks like right now.
Yeah.
It's insane
Yeah.
that and this shit, I just don't. I get why they feel the need to get into that sphere, because
Sure.
at some point we will be doing shit like this.
And they're trying in the history of Apple, they are, or in sort of the history that they've made for themselves over time. They're trying to do that again in the same way that they did with the iPhone and the Apple Watch and
Yeah.
you know all these things. The Macintosh. But
the Macintosh.
you know, it's so clear that they need another like creative genius behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's just not there anymore, and it hasn't been since Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
So
Apple hasn't felt essential in years. It obviously, you know, they're a massive, massive company. All of us have Apple products.
Sure.
I'm not saying that they go away tomorrow. I'm saying they haven't felt like, whoa,
cutting edge and doing
what is
something
Apple
different.
doing next?
Yeah, they've been. I mean, it's so clear that they're just riding off of their legacy, and you know, and name recognition alone.
Yeah, which I mean, at this point, I don't know. We're this seems to be the final frontier of technology right now, right? This seems to be the thing. This is the precipice of technology is AR and VR stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it still seems to be so. I mean, maybe it has to do with where we are as a society. That like if life was better, things like this would make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
But since it sucks, since society kind of sucks right now. I mean, like I'm not gonna harp on it, but let's just call a spade a spade. Like we're not living in the best times right now. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's why there's such a push for AR and VR technology.
But what I'm saying is like, yes, the tech bros want to push it,
Mm-hmm.
but the common man.
the common man can't afford it. First
Exactly.
Of all.
So then what is the point? Who is this for? Is what I'm saying. Like, if it's going to continue to be about the elite or these niche people,
Yeah.
or these people with niche
Hobbies.
interests and hobbies and
Yeah.
stuff, then sure. But how do you sell that to you and I?
Well, here's the thing, and I've seen this sort of hypothesized other places too, so not an original thought here. But a lot of people are saying that this is very much a prototype, that the cost is because you're paying for an early adopter's fee, essentially. You know, you buy this because you are like a huge tech bro, and that's your thing. You know,
Yeah.
you will spend the money on it because you want the newest, flashiest stuff. And it's a cool toy. You want to be the one person on your block that has it. Okay, cool. You invest in it.
Yeah. Good for you.
Right. And then once once they sell those and you're able to show them off to your friends, then they can look at it and be like, that's pretty cool. I can't afford them right now, but maybe in the future. And then, maybe in 5 years or so, costs a little less to make the components, costs a little less to make the microprocessors and all that stuff. Batteries are better, and they can make one for the same price in 5-10 years with better technology in it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way of technology that you pay a lot for less early on. And the price tends to go down over
I
time.
never understood people like that who buy basically the broken tech.
Sure. Well, it's the best we have right now. So,
Is it though? Is it?
I'm sure that you could spend $10,000 on a VR mask that blows your nose for you and stuff. But
Yeah. Well, if you can, then why not spend it on that instead of this? Because this seems to be like a meeting you in the middle kind of price. Like, hey man, it's look all the stuff that it can do though. Like we got this price point down as low as we could.
Yeah.
We're trying to. What I'm saying is, like, at what point do you think people are just going to have AR and VR headsets just lying around?
Well,
I think that we're pretty far away from that.
I don't know. I from all of the sort of cynicism I'm throwing at this thing, it could pop. Who knows? It could become the next thing. And because it seems like a lot of people are really excited about it. And from all reports, even the people who don't think it's gonna, amount to anything, they're all saying it's a really well-made machine and it does what it does really well. Like that headline said, it's just kind of trying to find what I'm using killer app like a video game company would, but what is the thing that is going to really make this thing a necessary, semi-necessary thing to have?
Right. Right.
Because once that happens, then, people are going to be like, all right, I'll save a couple of years and I'll, be able to buy one of these.
Yeah.
So it could happen. And then even if this one doesn't work out that way, if it's popular enough, other companies are going to come out of the woodwork and continue to try to iterate to iterate on AR and VR to make it cheaper.
Yeah.
To make it more accessible.
Yeah.
And to do more of the stuff that they're doing with this, and not just be something for video games or, watching 3D movies of Nepal or something, So I don't know. I think that this may be a major step in that direction. We'll see. It's hard to say at this point.
Yeah.
Because you can't underestimate Apple, but it's expensive.
I just really feel like at its price point, if you've got $3,500 to drop on one piece of tech, I mean, why wouldn't you just get like a new computer or a new laptop? Or
one of the tweets I saw that was pretty funny is like, for this price, you can buy like a high-end OLED, like 70-inch TV.
Yeah.
And that's something everyone can enjoy,
Right.
Not just you with it on your face.
Right. And also that thing is, again, a thing that serves a need.
Sure.
Everybody has a television.
Right.
$3,500.
You're not buying that headset instead of a TV. Like that's not happening.
That's like what? 7 PlayStation 5s?
Something like that.
Like,
yeah. Yeah. And honestly, again, there are already VR head units that are way cheaper.
yeah.
That are comparable as far as like visual fidelity.
Yeah.
Not as good because, Apple's working with top of the line stuff here, but for all intents and purposes, the PSVR 2 is a great machine. The Meta Quest and Quest 2 and all those different iterations are apparently really good and pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So there's already an option there for people who can't afford this thing. The question is, will the Apple name, the prestige and legacy of Apple be able to be enough to sell these? We'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
When is it releasing?
That's a fantastic question. I don't know. Let me see if I can I don't know. I'm not sure if they have a release date set yet. Let me just go ahead and Google that. Vision Pro release date. Early 2024.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah. So,
All right.
yeah, we'll see.
Well, we'll come back to this when people get their hands on reviews, and we kind of see how this stuff integrates itself into, our day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know. Like I said, I don't see it. But
You don't see the vision?
I'm a cynic when it comes to shit like that. I
Yeah.
just don't,
You just broke.
That too.
Uh-huh.
That too.
It sucks. I hate it.
No one should buy this machine, let alone me.
If I can't have it, no one can.
All right. Well, while we wait for the Vision Pro, we finally got Vin Diesel's Vision.
And he is a pro.
Fast X has been out, and can you pull up the box office, please?
Sure.
Two, middling reviews, but that's not
As to be expected.
yeah, that's what happens. So I don't know why anybody would. I get that we're having this conversation about cinema, and the film bros are at all. They're more powerful than they've ever been, and talking about film has never been more, I guess, accessible. You go on Twitter and everybody seems to be having an intellectual conversation about film. Not really, because when you actually look at the conversations being had, you're like,
Yeah.
it's not even a good point.
It's
or
a pseudo-intellectual conversation.
Yeah.
More often than not.
So it makes sense that this movie gets reviewed the way that it does. I just don't. When are people just going to get over it? It's the 10th movie.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there is a large swath of people who either don't care, have no opinion about the Fast and Furious franchise by and large, or are in on it like we are and actively enjoy how dumb they are nowadays.
Yeah.
To answer your question, the film has taken in $129 million in the U.S., but it's starting to slow down, which is worrying people because apparently F9 got $175 million domestically and $700 worldwide.
Yeah. What's his worldwide gross right now?
I don't know. That I don't have that number in front of me right now, but things aren't looking so good because apparently the budget for Fast X was $350 million. So,
Well, I mean, that makes sense.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep.
And who can we blame for this lack of success?
Would it be Vin Diesel?
No.
No.
It can't be Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel is the captain of the ship.
Of course. Yeah.
So-
Infallible, some would say.
He would say.
Yeah.
No. It can't be him. And it can't be The Rock because he's been out of the franchise for a while.
Yeah.
And apparently they patched up their thing.
I've heard.
So
yeah.
we'll talk about that. But
Yeah.
so it can't be The Rock,
No.
right?
The director? The new director?
No. It can't be the director. I mean, he is the one who's probably solely responsible for how the film is.
Sure.
What
sure.
the film is.
Should be,
No. Well, maybe one of the writers?
I don't think so.
No. What about the only thing in the movie that's being reviewed well? Maybe that's to blame for the performance
The soundtrack.
of the... No, not the soundtrack.
Oh.
No. Apparently, Jason Momoa's actual... his performance in the film is pretty much the only thing that is being spoken about positively. It's over the top. It's zany. It's kind of, weird and quirky.
Chewing up the scenery.
As he does.
As the villain. Yeah.
And that, according to Vin Diesel, is the reason for the poor performance of Fast X. And
Reportedly.
Reportedly.
We weren't in these rooms,
Right. Allegedly.
Right.
This is how Vin feels. Although it's not that hard of a stretch, considering everything else that has upset him.
His history of,
Yeah.
of being upset at
I mean, it's
strange things.
very plausible for him to look around and go, well, there's only one new thing here, and it's that fucking
it's
guy over
you.
there.
You with the great hair.
It's wild to me, man. That Vin, I can't believe, like, I used to think that he was just this humble,
Gentle
dumb
giant.
guy.
Yeah.
Just like, he seemed like, I just want to make a movie.
He genuinely seems like just a big lovable dork,
Yeah.
Like a creative, like, theater kid who happens to look like a biker.
Right.
And
he's like, this is how my bread is getting buttered, so I'll
Yeah.
lean into this, but
Sure.
he's a goofball.
Exactly.
Or at least that's what he seems like.
Yes, exactly. He's really into video games and stuff and sci-fi. It seems like a good guy to hang out with.
And yet, Vin can be pretty vindictive. Just came up with that one. Now, going back to the feud with The Rock, for instance, this was a feud based solely on ego.
Yeah.
Who is in charge of these films? The Rock comes in and he wants to be an executive producer. He wants to have like full control over his character. He wants to like basically partner up with Vin Diesel on this franchise. He's like, listen, I have the star power equal to this franchise.
Right.
And now that I'm a part of it, like, I want some say-so. Vin's like, no.
Hell no.
Fuck you. I built this thing from the ground up with
Yeah.
these hands.
Uh-huh.
And this family.
With a wrench.
You think I'm just going to fucking give it away? No.
No, absolutely not.
So that's where a lot of that stemmed from. And apparently they patched their thing up conveniently around the same time that this movie is not doing too well.
Yeah.
Again, relative terms, because $170 million domestic
Sure.
is still pretty good.
Yeah, it's nothing to sneeze at, but with a budget like $350 million,
Yeah,
you
you
got to do
expect
better
it
than
to.
that.
Yeah.
You got to do better than that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going back to how these movies are received, they are going to run their course.
Sure.
As much as we both love this franchise, 11 movies, maybe even 12.
With suggestions of there being unlimited spin-offs.
Yeah.
And, it as a fan, as a genuine fan of this franchise through all of its ups and downs, makes my heart sink.
Yeah.
I want them to leave it alone. Just let it go. At least for a while.
I mean, at some point you have to go, like, we can't, because the thing is, they're not doing anything new or different or like,
they're not getting better.
no, they're not getting better. They just are what they are. And ever since 8, probably,
Yeah.
they've just been this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And once everybody made the jokes about like, they're gonna send a car into space, and then they actually did it. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, I don't know if it's a jump in the shark moment, because how do you jump the shark in a franchise like this? But it is a moment where you go,
All right.
I don't know where
What
else
are we
can
doing?
you go?
Yeah.
You gotta like traverse dimensions. Like, what more can you really do?
Sure.
There's only so many cars you can explode on the highway. There's only so many submarines you can
Right.
sink.
Well, the way back to Jesus in this moment, I feel, is to strip it down again.
Yeah.
Make it take away all of the the over the topness of it. I say that while also cringing a little bit inside, because I love that about where this franchise went. I
Yeah.
love that it went over the top. I love that it became something like a superhero movie. But again, because it's plateaued to the place that it is now, and I'd say starting to tread water, it may be time to strip it back, ground it again, make it about street racers,
Yeah.
make it about believable cars and crime, and make it still have the tenets of a Fast and Furious movie, which is family, racing,
I mean,
melodrama.
it's very easy to do a jump forward like 10 years and then just have Vin Toretto training his kid to be a professional race car driver.
Sure.
Boom.
Yeah.
And then you slide in some kind of like criminality element.
There is some criminal element coming out of the woodwork. And
He doesn't have to be a fucking secret agent.
Sure.
He could just be a kid caught up in something.
He's got to make a decision whether to make fast money on the streets or go professional and stay legitimate or something.
You could literally do a pseudo reboot / reimagining with Toretto's kid and Brian's kid.
Yeah.
Brian's kid becomes a cop like his old man, and Toretto's kid becomes a race car driver like his old man.
Yeah. Or the opposite. They switch.
Or the opposite. That would be fun.
Yeah. A little twist on the whole dynamic.
Now, you may say to yourself as you're listening, oh, yeah, listen to these two, backseat drivers, pun intended again, Monday morning quarterbacking this.
Yeah.
But I implore you to watch these movies and think, is this any worse than what you've already seen? Do you think that this is, a huge leap from where they've gone with it? It can't be no dumber than Charlize Theron being this super all-powerful, all-seeing, omnipotent fucking supervillain.
Yeah.
And then Jason Momoa's character apparently being related to the guy who owned... It's just so silly. It's just so silly.
Yeah. The amount of retroactive recastings or not recastings but castings in the first place of characters that we should have known the entire time.
I mean,
it's pretty ridiculous.
I've got some stuff spoiled for me that I won't spoil for you, but like they really, this movie is all first drafts. There's not an ounce of thought put into
nobody said no
continuity. No, they're just like,
of course not.
Guys, listen, no one cares. It's like that interview every time Mark Hamill talks about Harrison Ford when they were making Star Wars, and he's like, he says when they come out of the trash compactor, he's like, my hair should be all smutzed up and gross. And Harrison Ford's like, kid, if people are paying attention to your hair,
we have bigger issues,
right? And I really feel like that is the ideology that Vin Diesel runs his entire thing with.
Yeah.
It's like, no one cares about that. And it's like, I mean, people care. We just have gotten to a point where we know you don't care.
Yeah.
And so it makes it even sillier. And you just kind of, like you throw caution to the wind and you go, all right, well, if you're not even going to give a single solitary fuck, I'm not going to waste my energy.
You're asking us to ignore a lot.
Yeah. And that's fine if we've established that. But you can't then turn around and be like, we made a piece of art and it was ruined by Jason Momoa's silly performance, and that's why the movie didn't do well. No, you kind of have to accept where you are right now.
Yeah. He is many things, but I don't think he would ever point the finger at himself and take accountability.
No. Humility is something he sorely lacks. If we're to believe...
Not a humble man.
We're to believe everything that we've heard about him.
Sure, yeah.
Which again, like you said, reportedly, allegedly.
Yeah, we don't know the man.
This is true.
We don't know him.
But if you are to believe what we've heard about him, he is sorely lacking in humility.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense that Michelle Rodriguez would be in these movies complaining because it seems like she sorely lacks humility too.
Letty?
Can you imagine?
Not Letty.
She's been in the game for years.
Yeah.
She's been in Hollywood. She's been in movies for years.
Yeah.
And she's got
Since
the
the beginning.
nerve. She's got the absolute fucking nerve to be complaining about Marvel movies and the amount of Marvel movies that are getting made. And then to ice the cake, this TMZ video comes out of her pretty obviously buzzed.
Yeah.
And she's like, why are we stealing all the white people? Like we're making all that, and we're like, and I just even the first tweet that I saw that had that video embedded was like, Michelle Rodriguez says what we're all thinking.
I saw that one too. I saw it.
Who's we?
And a lot, like, the comments underneath it were, of course, like, I knew she was a real one.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. She gets it.
So now it's fine. Now it's good to like Michelle Rodriguez.
Sure.
Before, when people didn't know if she was like a lesbian or not, or there was all these like she's too much of a tomboy, she's too much of a tough girl, she's actually not that hot, blah blah blah. I've seen that a lot.
She's a little brown.
Yeah, a little,
I don't know.
A little brown. I mean, her
Last
name is
name's
Michelle
Rodriguez.
Yeah. So Michelle, we can get with that. The Rodriguez part. Ooh. Now that she said this shit, now it's okay.
Yeah.
And that shows you how fucking hypocritical and quick some of these people are to just like that. Yeah. Nothing
You just got to
matters.
say the right thing. That's it.
That's all it takes.
Yep.
Nothing matters to them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disappointed, obviously.
Well, we should be clear. What she said was, not verbatim, but the idea behind what she said was, why are minorities taking white superhero roles?
Yeah. And first, what is she even talking about?
I don't know. I don't know, because I know that's a talking point for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I don't see it happening very often.
Yeah. Well, especially roles. If she's talking about just like characters being race swapped and gender swapped, all right.
Brown washed.
Yeah, I mean, sure, hit us with the same talking points that the rest of them hit us with. If she's talking about just straight up roles, what is she talking about? What characters?
I don't know.
It's just like this imaginary boogeyman that they create, and I just don't know what.
Maybe, did she dislike our Black Superman episode?
She probably was one of the people that came in and disliked the video.
It's rough.
I mean, I imagine if she actually did watch it, yeah, she wouldn't like it too much.
Yeah.
Not Black Superman.
Black Superman.
It's. I don't get it. I don't. We're and this is what I was talking. This is kind of the stuff that I was thinking about when I was talking about where we are in society. Like, these are the kind of conversations that we're still having. And you think people are going to buy a $4,000 VR headset? Like, these are the kind of conversations we're having.
As long as they can have their white superheroes on it. As long as that's included, fine.
I think if they knew best, they would just bow out now. The fast guys.
The fast guys. Uh-huh.
But it's filled with a bunch of people who, like, you can tell don't really give a shit. They're all cash and check. Like, Ludacris hasn't done another movie.
No.
And he knows it too. When you see him in these interviews, he's like, getting cast in the Fast and the Furious was the greatest thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Every couple of years, I get this humongous check.
I get to go to Brazil for a few months.
Yeah, I have to learn like a page of dialogue, and then I just get to go home and be richer than I ever would have been as just a rapper.
Yeah.
And that's how the rest of, like, Tyrese. What the fuck has Tyrese done? Nothing. And matter of fact, what the fuck has Michelle Rodriguez done? I mean, all of them. Like.
Wasn't she in SWAT?
SWAT?
Yeah.
I think that was before Fast and the Furious.
No.
Or like around the same time.
Yeah, I think it was
Well, because the first one
after.
came out in 2001, I believe.
Something like that.
2000
Yeah.
or 2001, and
Something
then the
like that,
second
yeah.
one was like 2002 or 2003. It was like shortly after.
All right, let's fact check here.
I'm gonna say
2001.
SWAT, I'm gonna say SWAT was like 2003, 2004.
I think it's around there. SWAT. 2003.
Nice.
Hey.
Nice.
Got him.
So yeah. So she was in SWAT.
Yeah. She parlayed that into SWAT.
Yeah. She's been typecast literally her entire career.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like someone in her shoes, I just feel like maybe you just shouldn't talk about stereotypes and things being like things being like too consistent or things not changing in Hollywood and things like, oh, we're remaking the same movie over and over again. It's like you have been cashing that same check for like 20 years, which is fine if you kept your mouth shut. But if you're going to have an opinion on Marvel movies, if you're going to have an opinion on, oh, they're brownwashing these superheroes, if you're going to have these kinds of opinions, then it's like, all right, well, now we have to take a magnifying glass to your film roles. What the fuck have you done differently in Hollywood? What have you innovated on? What stand have you taken?
Yeah.
She has played Letty or some version of Letty in almost everything I've ever seen her in.
You gotta think that some of what she said was sour grapes, right?
Of course.
You know, like,
what the fuck are you doing?
Getting the cookie.
She just sneaks into frame.
you're not even trying to hide.
No, not even a little bit.
I gotta get a cookie.
All right. No, thank you.
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks. Yes, I do believe that some of it has to be sour grapes.
Sure. And she was drunk, whatever.
She was drunk and she revealed how she really feels about stuff, but it's hypocritical is what I'm saying.
Sure.
Like, I just don't want to hear that from someone in her shoes.
Yeah. Well, and I've seen this counter argument, as we saw actually as a rebuttal to our feelings on Black Superman. Where people are saying, well, it's not directly like a racist statement to say that or to have that opinion. It's just saying that there should be more originally written characters, a la Miles Morales, who are people of color, as opposed to just making a traditionally white character a person of color.
See, now, if people wanted to have that conversation like 5 or 10 years ago, I could rock with you. Mm-hmm. When you try to have that conversation now, people are like, they're just making more woke superheroes. Anytime they try to make a new hero that's black, brown, gay, trans, anything that is outside the norm, quote unquote, you get all these people who come in and they go, you're just trying to fill a quota. Yeah, it's just slap back at you. You're trying to fill a quota. You're trying to be woke. You created this character to answer for this thing or that thing, and it's like, well, you can't win because if you race swap a beloved white hero, then people get mad at you for that. But if you create a black character and go, these are his superpowers, he's independent of all this other stuff, this is the guy. Then they go, you just made the black guy because that you're just like, there's not enough black people and that's why you made the black character. Like, it's just woke, man.
Yeah. Why are you making this political?
Yeah. Now it's a whole statement and it's like, well, he's just a black character. Why does it?
Right.
Does
it matter?
It shouldn't.
Yeah.
So I just can't entertain that argument anymore because that's all you hear nowadays.
Yeah.
When they make original black characters, like I've seen it with Miles Morales, for instance. A lot of people are like, he's just black Peter Parker, even though he has set himself so far apart from just being the black Peter Parker
clone. Yeah. Well, and I think making those characters directly interact in like almost any medium that they're in helps solidify the fact that they are very different characters.
Yeah.
That they make an effort to show how different they are.
Yeah.
The way they interplay with each other.
Yeah.
They're both Spider-Man, but they're not the same character.
Yeah.
Like it's very clear.
But how many times have you seen like him just coded as Black Spider-Man and not just Spider-Man?
Sure. Well, and I feel like that's changed over time with the popularity of, the PlayStation game and
Spider-Verse movie. I think Donald Glover has a lot to do with that too.
100%. I mean, like, he is, by all accounts, the reason for Miles Morales being created as a character, to be like really to launch that character into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
So yeah. By all means, he has a very big stake in that character's popularity.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've seen that argument before too, and people just clamoring to have Peter Parker back.
Yeah.
because they're tired of Miles Morales now. You know?
'cause he's been around for like 3 years, and they're already like, all right, we got it, the black guy.
Ooh.
Like, enough is enough.
Which not to mention on top of that, the whole reason why so many traditional superheroes are white is because there was no representation before. Because they wouldn't write a black character or a brown character unless they were, or an Asian character, because they were only written as these stereotypes.
Yeah.
We've talked about this about wrestling before. It's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
like if there was representation, it was either completely negative and or a complete stereotype and caricature of that culture.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at it now. I mean, there's still some stuff like with wrestling, for instance. You look at some characters and you go like that. They're still kind of being a little stereotypical with this, but for the most part, they've really gotten over that. And like they let a lot of these guys and girls just be a thing that they want to be, even if they have to be like these silly characters. At least they don't lean too heavily on the stereotypes anymore. They still do to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
But can you imagine if some of these comics were written in 2023? You would get a vastly different vision
Sure.
of these characters.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear because the way that a lot of these characters are written now by new comic book artists and writers, you see like how they would have been written if it was acceptable
Sure.
to write about these characters.
And if the comic book writers themselves and artists themselves were people of those cultures.
Right.
Because a lot of the reason why they delved into stereotypes so much is because the writers didn't know the culture. They knew it from stereotypes and from caricatures and from a lot of, racist sources.
Yeah.
Or their own biases,
Yeah.
So now that there is an ever-growing community of artists and writers and directors and everything else, video game creators, all of that leads to a naturally more diverse playing field.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't that be reflected in the art that they make?
Yeah.
It's simple, like I don't know why you don't get this. It's pretty easy to understand why and not take it personally. Why there's more diversity in your art that you're consuming. Sure, you can choose to not consume that art because you don't want to see black people on your TV screen or whatever.
But the walls are closing in on white people, man.
Good.
They're
You
looking
should
around
if
and
you are a person who doesn't want to see a gay person on your screen or an Indian person on your screen or a black person on your screen. I hope that you are left with no entertainment at some point,
Yeah.
because you don't deserve it.
No.
Go ahead and keep reading Gone with the Wind. Fine, go ahead, enjoy the limited scope of creativity and art that you can consume, because ultimately that's on you. You can decide to close the scope of your vision and your entertainment and your creativity and everything else if you want to.
Yeah.
But give me all the stuff,
Yeah.
I want to hear a story I haven't heard before. I want to hear about people I've never heard about before. What's your world like? Tell me. I think that's more interesting.
Yep.
Personally.
And also go fuck yourself.
Sure. Do that too. Enjoy.
Well, I mean, I haven't really seen any kind of fallout or backlash with the Michelle Rodriguez thing.
I think people are just
They're just
whatever.
well, I mean, she also is like, who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
It's a nothing burger.
Yeah,
It's fine.
So we'll see with the Fast and the Furious movie, because part 2, Vin Diesel had the genius idea, never been done before, to take the last movie in the series and go, you know what? I'm just gonna chop it up a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
So I can just squeeze everyone. Just drop.
He's Harry Pottering it.
Harry Pottering it, Avengering it,
Avengering it. Yeah.
Hunger Gamesing it.
Yeah.
Somebody else did it too.
Wait, Hunger Games. The last one was 2.
Yeah, it was two
Huh.
movies.
I didn't realize that.
Didn't they do it with Twilight.
Oh,
Thank you. That's
Twilight,
what I was
yes,
thinking. Twilight
yes,
did
yes,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
They all. Yeah.
Wow, that happened way more often than I thought.
Yeah, man. So we'll see.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah, Mission Impossible's doing it. Yeah.
Uh huh.
Come on, Tom. You're better than that. Just
No,
us
give
the
me
movie.
more. Give me more.
Well, just make another. It doesn't have to be part 2.
I guess so. I mean, I would sit there and watch a 5-hour Mission Impossible finale.
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely.
Gladly.
Make it long. Make it long and
Strong.
strong. Okay, let's get out of it.
Gotta get that fiction on.
Fiction on. We're just full of them today. We're just
the Colt 45.
cracking off.
It works every time.
Nice. All right. Last but not least, the genius Miyazaki.
The God.
He has finally decided to hang it up, or has he? Who knows? He's done this before.
Yes.
So we don't really know what the man has lying behind those sad eyes.
Those soulful drops of dew.
But what we do know is that the latest film that's been announced from Studio Ghibli is reportedly his last movie.
Yeah.
And you got some more info on that?
I do. It is called How Do You Live? And according to Variety, maximum secrecy will be maintained until release. A producer hints that widely assumed plot details may be wrong.
Okay.
So we don't know anything about this movie. All we have is like one image, which appears to be a bird. You know, not rare for a Miyazaki story.
Right.
The man loves flying and flight and animals. So we don't know anything. And that's apparently by design. So the question here is it genius or lunacy to release a movie like this? And do you remember any time that this has ever happened before? Because I don't.
I think that it's refreshing. It's the first thing that I think of is imagine nowadays for a movie to come out and you not see, you know, teaser after promo after TikTok after Facebook post and Instagram. This shit is everywhere. Like you can see where that marketing budget is going.
Yeah.
You can't look away. It's everywhere. And I don't know, some stuff just is not really sacred anymore. I went and saw Guardians finally. So I seen Guardians Volume 3.
Okay.
Incredible movie.
Yeah, it's great.
I thought it was great send off for the series. There's a moment in the last half of the movie where Nakamura
Mantis?
No, Gamora's sister.
Oh, Nebula.
Nebula.
Yeah.
Nebula says to Drax as he's like comforting all those kids and he, you know, it's this really sentimental, sweet moment where she says, you never meant to be a destroyer. You were meant to be a dad. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's heart-wrenching. And it like didn't register for me as much as it should have because it was all over the fucking trailers.
Yeah.
Why would that when I watched that moment in context, there is zero reason that it should have been in the trailers.
Yeah.
There is zero reason that I should have seen that scene before having seen it in the movie. Because it's not like it was a selling point. Like, oh, that's so sweet. Now I want to go watch the movie. Like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm on board for the experiment. I mean, if I'm thinking realistically, it's probably a bad idea.
I think it's crazy as a fox because I think the people who are really excited about this movie to begin with are already dorks about Miyazaki. You know, I think it's rare that you'll find a first-time watcher of a Miyazaki film seeing this movie in theaters. You know, it's probably mostly people who are already know about this movie coming out, already are excited about it, have been, you know, looking online about different theories about what it could be about.
Yeah.
so I think the fan base is mostly built in, and I think because of that, and it being his sort of his final bow to bow out as an artist in this way, I think it's really it's poetic, and I think it's pretty smart. I think it's going to add to a buzz once reviews come out and people are finally able to sit in a theater without knowing anything other than a single kind of vague image.
I will say it makes me excited about. I think it really raises my excitement level of like going into a theater and not knowing any like that'd be this. Like, can you imagine doing that or being able to do that as an adult?
No.
Excuse me. You used to be able to like go to the theater and just buy a ticket to something and be like, I don't even know what the fuck this is.
Sure. Yeah.
And being like pleasantly surprised at how good a movie was.
Before social media.
Yeah. But now it's impossible. Yeah. There's no way to go to a movie without at least having an inkling of what it's about.
Sure.
Or having stumbled upon, like you guys were talking about Cocaine Bear earlier.
Yeah.
Like that is a movie that, 15 years ago, you would go to the marquee and go, Cocaine Bear?
I gotta see that.
Yeah, and you'd go watch that and like you would just have this fresh viewing of the thing and go and come out of it going like I don't know what I expected, but
yeah,
there was cocaine and there was a bear.
Sure.
Nowadays it's like it's so into itself. Mm-hmm. All of this stuff is so like when Marvel advertises their movies, they're like, it's the event of the summer. Mm-hmm. It's an event. It's not a movie. It's a thing that you do. It's not a piece of art that you consume.
It's an experience.
Yeah. And I don't know. This is the exact opposite of that, and it obviously makes the most sense with the man. And I don't know. I love it. I love the idea.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know, because you're right that the people who are going to see this movie in the theaters are already excited about it.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, promos and teasers and trailers are about getting the people who don't know about it. That's the entire idea behind those things, right? So
I think Miyazaki has the same sway that like Tarantino or Scorsese or I don't know, any major or Kojima, any auteur of their craft, top of their game, has.
Yeah.
So I think the studio just is able to be like, yeah, let's throw our dick around a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, this is it.
Dick
toss.
This
right
is
here.
this is the end. This is the end for this incredible genius of a filmmaker, of an animator. Let's do it his way.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a thing that you got to go and see.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because I remember when I was in Japan.
Oh God.
With my girlfriend. When we went to no, go ahead. You need to catch up because I'm almost there, buddy.
Almost there, bitch. That's like 3 more glasses.
It's fine. You'll all see. But when we were in Japan, we went to the Ghibli museum, and they have rotating films there that you can only see at the museum or the amusement park. So there, I think there is like an appreciation for like being in the moment and seeing something for the first time, or only being able to see something at a certain place at a certain time.
Yeah.
With Studio Ghibli. And I think this is sort of a call back to that, and a celebration of that, of it not being about the ads, it not being about this giant press run and social media buys and all this crap and billboards. It's just about the thing,
Yeah.
And like you said, it's very refreshing. I love that.
And who's gonna go on the press run anyway?
I don't know what you would do. I guess when it eventually comes to America, the voice cast they have for it,
Yeah.
they'll be there.
God, we're doing more promo for this movie than
they've tried. Yeah.
this is all free promo for them.
Yeah.
When's it supposed to come out?
It's coming out in Japan on July 14th. I'm not sure if an American release, a Western release has been announced, but I'm sure it'll be, relatively soon thereafter, within a year, I would assume.
So close to my birthday.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we can go to Japan and watch it.
Yeah. You gonna pay for the ticket
I didn't
for my
say-
birthday?
Didn't say that.
For the broski?
I'll buy the ticket to the movie.
Oh God. Okay. Well, I think that's enough, right?
No, yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, before we review these brewskis, we got to do one last thing, and that is the cheers of the week. So, Obi, who are you cheersing to, my friend? Or what? Who, what, when, where are you
Why?
choosing to?
My cheers of the week goes to I Think You Should Leave.
Ah.
It's so chunky.
It's just a thunk.
I'm a latecomer to I Think You Should Leave, but I think
Hey, man, that's okay.
yeah.
It's better than being an early comer. Right, Sherry?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I had heard of I Think You Should Leave a long time ago, and I'd seen the memes, but I hadn't watched it for myself until a couple of weeks ago. And Sherry and I ran through it like within a week. With the new season out, we're starting to watch that now, and it's just so strange and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And sometimes poetic, sometimes dark, oftentimes very silly. And I just love that kind of comedy in general, that it kind of leaves you without like solid ground to stand on. You never know what you're going to get, let alone each episode, but like each skit.
Yeah.
It's a very unique show, and I love it, and I recommend it at least to try for everyone. I don't think it'll be everyone's cup of tea, but
No.
yeah, if it clicks with you, I think it really clicks with you.
Yeah.
So check it out. It's on Netflix. Very easy to watch.
That's if you haven't been booted off your friends' Netflix.
Sure. Also, they're only like 15 minutes each, so very easy barrier for entry
Yeah.
for it.
Did you finish season 3?
Not yet.
I haven't watched it at all. I'd like to see some of it.
Yeah, there's some good ones in there.
All right. My cheers of the week. Probably could tell if you're watching. The Iron Sheik
Sheiky baby.
passed away sadly today. An absolute legend, icon. One of the mainstays of the golden age of wrestling. One of the guys that, we were talking about stereotypes in wrestling earlier. He was just the stereotypical villain, the foreign invader.
Big mustache.
Yeah.
Pointy boots.
He had the big Iranian bat swinging thing. If you guys are fans of Action Bronson,
yeah.
and he's swinging that Bulgarian bat thing that he works out with. Iron Sheik used to come out with 2 that looked like bowling ball pins, and he would swing them around his head. Oh, he was a beast, man. And he was, he was fucking legit, for the style of wrestling in the 80s, which was big, bulky, huge dumb dudes slamming into each other. He was very talented for that style. There was a handful of guys, when you think about 80s wrestling, you just think about bodybuilders who just body slammed each other, did these weak, weird moves, and weren't very athletic, but they were showmen. Looking at you, Hulk Hogan. And we're going to circle back to Hogan in a second.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for it.
But he, Sheiky was really talented. He was really good in-ring talent.
Yeah.
Had the look, had the charisma. He had it all when you needed to have it all in the 80s.
Yeah.
You weren't rising above the rest of these guys if you weren't 10s across the board.
Yeah. One of the best heels of all time.
And then in the post wrestling era, he becomes even more legendary. His social media presence is like, I mean,
A meme god.
a god. I mean, obviously he had to have had like his kid helping him with the page or
course.
like, somebody's, but that notwithstanding, his social media presence was on par with some of like the most famous, people on social media.
Yeah.
Like as just being a guy on there, having his finger on the pulse of current events.
And the format of just being fuck the whatever.
Just
It's great.
Yeah, just his attitude, who he was post wrestling. Like he'd show up and do like shoot interviews or like, show up to places that he wasn't invited to and just being a complete maniac and stuff. Then you look on his social media and you're like, oh, this guy's just an actual maniac.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
It's just he would just be sitting in like his chair screaming.
And it's fantastic. Not to mention his absolute loathing and hatred of Hulk Hogan is the stuff of legend.
Yeah.
And it really endeared me to him, especially like post wrestling career. I was like, yeah, this guy, he gets
it. Yeah.
He fucking gets it.
He's a real one.
He never let that pointy shoe off of the throat of Hulk Hogan until the day that he fucking died, man.
Yeah.
And I just fucking love that.
You gotta salute it.
You got to. You just got to. And so for Iron Sheik, I salute you, my friend. And fuck Hulk Hogan.
Fuck Hulk Hogan. One last time.
All right. You think we got it?
I know we got it.
Oh, wait. Well, we got to review these beers before we... I mean, we got to,
You're not wrong.
So tonight's brew
Not wrong.
was the original classic American lager, the Colt 45. We could have done like, Edward 40 hands, but I tell you what,
I'll tell you what.
he's definitely Adam's ahead of me
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. I've been telling you that.
Okay, all right, all right. You think you're better than me?
Yeah, I know I'm better than you.
Oh, the camera died. Should have ended it when we had the chance.
That's what we get for bickering.
It's fine. I don't know if anybody's still watching for the review anyway.
It's okay. If you are, we appreciate you.
Yes, we do. And so for you who's still here, here's our review. What'd you think?
I got to be honest with you. I expected this to suck way more.
Yeah.
It's actually really smooth, not overly malty, which I was expecting from a malt liquor. Really more teetering on the lagerness of it all.
Yeah.
I think that's because it is lighter than other malt liquors, and I actually really like that, especially for a volume as big as this.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking of 4.
It's
It's really not that bad. It's pretty
really
good.
It really isn't that bad.
No, I don't know if I don't know if I'm overselling because of my low expectations, but I actually like it.
No, I think that you get this idea in your head of what malt liquor is or what it's supposed to be.
Right.
It's supposed to be bad, right? That's what everybody tells you. And anytime that you've had a malt liquor, you're like, well, this is just cheap swill.
Sure.
And it's in
Vodka.
a giant, yeah. But it doesn't have to be.
No,
and
apparently
this
not.
isn't like, I mean, it's not some like craft lager, but it's as good as anything else that you get
Sure.
at the store. Like
Yeah.
you can tell me this isn't comparable to just drinking like a PBR or like a fucking or a Miller High Life. Like
For my money, it and maybe I'll have to do a blind taste test here, but I think it tastes a little better than like a Budweiser.
oh yeah. I would say that. If you can wrap your lips around a fucking Budweiser, you can certainly wrap your lips around this Colt 45. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 also.
I love to hear it.
All right, so that's a unanimous 4 for the Colt 45.
Nice. Nice.
Now, do you think we got it?
I know we got it.
Well, let's get it out of here, man. This has been the One Beer In podcast for myself, Marco Dupa, for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yeah, boy.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer and have yourself a beautiful evening.
We love you.
Two birds.